as it slowly, gradually reproduced, it doesn't need some of the same things that our eyes need. And so it stopped there. And so it stopped there. And so it stopped there.
You said that the octopus randomly mutated to where it is today, where it's quite comfortable, and now it doesn't need to mutate any further. Well, the whole thing about random mutation is it doesn't really care about if it's comfortable or not, because it's random. When I think of random mutation, I get this idea from, Resident Evil? Resident Evil. This is what I think of. That's random mutation. Now, obviously it's happening a lot quicker than it would happen in nature, but that would pretty much be it. Just a whole bunch of nonsense. Random mutation, right? Eyeballs coming out of your neck and limbs coming out of your forehead. Just really, really weird. That's random mutation. Why is it that random mutation always seems to make really intelligent decisions? This is what you want to tell me, Goat. You want to tell me that, and you use this word.
And so it stopped there. And so it stopped there.
He says that the octopus evolved and randomly mutated until it was comfortable in its environment. Then it stopped. That's the word. Stopped.
And so it stopped there.
So why did it stop? Why did it stop? Maybe it's because it didn't randomly mutate to where it is today, and the reason it stopped is because it was never going in the first place, the mutations you speak of. Why is it that life, which you claim randomly mutated to where it is today, why is it that life randomly mutated from something like a single cell, and then mutated all the way to stuff like this, and like this, but for the octopus, it stopped. And for everything that exists contemporarily, it stopped. Could it be that the actual story of what's going on here is that cats and elephants and octopi were actually designed, and that the random mutation you speak of is actually adaptation and natural selection, which fits the creation model far better than it fits the evolution model? Allow me to explain that. I believe that God made animals with the ability to adapt and mutate intelligently. Intelligent mutation. There's something you don't hear every day. So let me explain intelligent mutation. Is it possible, and you and I were discussing this, is it possible that God designed certain kinds of fish with the ability to lose their eyeballs, or lose the ability to use their eyeballs, in order to exist and thrive in places where it doesn't need its eyeballs? I'm inclined to say, yeah, that would make sense. Then that would be intelligent mutation. And it would still remain a fish. I believe in natural selection. I believe in mutation. I believe in adaptation. I just don't think they can do what you say they do, and I don't think they did what you say they did. I believe that God gave life the ability to adapt and mutate and naturally select, but that does not mean a fish came from a non-fish, and it doesn't mean a fish will become something that's not a fish.
And so it stopped there.
So, mutation, adaptation, natural selection fit the creation model, and they fit it better because those things are quite intelligent, and it's a good thing that life can do that. For example, evolutionists like to say, well, bacteria mutates and, becomes immune to antibiotics. They say, that's evolution. No, that just shows that God made bacteria with the ability to adapt. That shows good design feature. And it's still bacteria. And that does not prove it came from something that wasn't a bacteria. That doesn't mean it's becoming something that's not a bacteria. It's still bacteria. So, yeah, evolution doesn't fit the evidence. Where's the evolution? Where's the octopus transcending where it's comfortable and becoming something completely nuts and crazy?
And so it stopped there.
That is what we would expect if evolution was true. It wouldn't have any regard for what was comfortable.
And so it stopped there.
You said that the universe came from a singularity. Oh, that was interesting, because I look at the universe and I see a plurality. I see a lot of stuff, not just a single thing. So, do you believe that a singularity became a multiplicity or a plurality? Well, then it wouldn't therefore be an absolute singularity. Unless you're saying that that singularity was actually a multiplicity, in which case it's not a singularity. In worst case, and what's more interesting yet, is you say that it existed as a singularity eternally and then created the universe. Unfortunately, for something to be eternal, and eternal really means always, in order for something to have always been a singularity, it would actually still have to be a singularity. It would never have been able to become the universe. So I feel far more comfortable, and it makes more logical sense because it's not internally contradictory, that an eternal God that never changes created the universe because he is the eternal creator, as opposed to something that is, you claim to be an eternal singularity transforming into something that would therefore make it not eternal. In order to be eternal, you cannot change. If you are eternally something, you must always be that way. So in order for an eternal singularity to exist, it would have to eternally be a singularity or never would have made the universe. So there's another canyon in your worldview. And lastly, and well, a few more points since we have a few minutes. Do I feel comfortable? Why do I not post your video responses? Do I feel threatened by what you have to say? No. By virtue of the fact that I'm responding to your video, and by virtue of the fact that, I've watched your videos, and I've watched a lot of videos, if you've seen how many videos I've watched on my main page, I don't post video responses from atheists for two reasons, and one of those reasons is to protect you. The Bible says that for anyone who offends someone who believes in God, who makes them doubt God, it would be better on the day of judgment for them to have been cast into the sea with a millstone hung around their neck. So it is out of fear for the atheists who set themselves up against the knowledge of the truth. It's for their own protection that I don't post their video responses. On top of that, it's also for people who are on the fence. People who say, well, maybe I believe or maybe I don't and I can go both ways. It's for you guys that I don't want to make popular any views that set themselves up against the knowledge of God because on one hand, that would make me responsible in some way, in an inadvertent way. It would make me responsible for that. And one, I won't take responsibility for leading people away from God. I will simply proclaim the truth, and I will not link you to videos that do not. It's as simple as that. If you have a problem with that, run your own channel your own way. Okay, so last point. And I thought of this, G0at. We were talking about the eyeball and removing parts from it and stuff like that. I think both of us totally missed the point. There's a lens on my camera here. There's a lens shutter, and I just did that to simulate it. There's also a glass case to protect the lens, and then there's other things. I could remove the shutter, I could remove the glass case, or we could take a watch, which we were talking about. You could remove the wristband, you could remove the gold plating, you could even remove the little thing that when you hit the button you can see in the dark, that little button there. But it would still be intelligently designed, and it would still function. So just because you can remove parts of your eyeball and the eyeball still function does not mean that the eyeball was not intelligently designed just by virtue of the fact that you can remove stuff from it. So both of us were way off the point. The point was, and the point is, was it intelligently designed? Yes or no? I don't care that you think it can be reduced in its complexity. It might very well be. That does not mean it wasn't designed in its complexity. And I think the fact that you can remove parts from it and it still be functional is a hint that it was intelligently designed anyways. Last point you made is, why did God make the world appear to have evolved? Because of the fossils and the mutations. Well, I think that's a straw man, because if you ask me, I don't think the world shows any evidence of evolution. I think we see trees making trees, we see dogs making dogs, we see cats making cats, we see elephants making elephants, and I've never seen any exception. And I think the best one is grass. Grass, there's a lot of it. I've never seen a blade of grass evolve or mutate into anything other than grass. So, contemporarily speaking, there is no evidence for evolution. The fossil record is hotly debated, and it depends again who you ask. One evolutionist admitted this concerning what the fossil record actually says.
Here you have a zoologist who admits that he knows of no such transitional fossil, living or otherwise, that could make a watertight argument for evolution.
Okay, so you guys might wonder, why did I call this video G0at the Magician? Well, he's not going to pull a rabbit out of a hat for you, but he is going to pull something out of his ass.
Expressing And we all came from the water, so, anyway, all life came from the water.
You say it with such a straight face, as if you were empirically there and you know it as a fact.
And we all came from the water. And we all came from the water.
I might as well just say that I picked my nose and that's how life came about. You just can't know that. God made the heavens and the earth, and you're going to make a very fine creationist one day if you use your intellect. You know, the reason they call it intelligent design is because the people who believe it are intelligent. God bless you guys.
Anyway, all life came from the water. But as it slowly, gradually reproduced, it doesn't need some of the same things that our eyes need. And so it stopped there.